Okay, let's begin today's class. So let's all create a file and just name it anything we want. But we are going to do. I want to throw more light on objects because we are entering into a certain zone in our work, in our lessons, that we will be actually looking at object and uh mixing objects up with, how do you call it, with arrays, with lists. We'll be working within objects more and more. So I want to throw more light on objects, and probably we look at how, if there is anything you missed when we were doing objects, you actually recollect, like remind yourself, and then put stuff together. Now, I think I touched on objects some time back. And then we spoke of the fact that objects are basically a real the virtual presentation of the real world stuff that we know. So I gave a practical example, and I said that whatever you see as an object inside JavaScript is just like, let's say, when you take a human being, for instance. A human being is an object. So a human being as an object, there are certain things we will say that, oh, the parts of the human being, or yeah, the parts of the human being, the head, the nose, the this, the that. So when you come to objects, these, we call them the properties. Objects are also data types inside of JavaScript, like I said the last time. If you can remember, I said objects are data types inside of JavaScript. So these data types that actually represent real world items, how do you manipulate them? How do you use them? We've earlier on touched on some of the properties, and we've looked at how you can be calling them and you can be doing stuff with them. Now, this is an object that the very moment you do this, the very moment you type this, you have actually created an object. But when we want to call this object, we may not see anything, simply because haven't defined any properties. So I can log this programmer. So programmer, like this. Now, when I log this, probably we are not going to see anything. Yeah, we are not seeing anything. The only thing we are seeing is some kind of curly braces. This is to say that there is nothing inside of the object. Don't get bored that we are revisiting objects. Probably you have upper hand over objects, but we are going to use it inside a function, and actually look at how manipulate some few stuff around it today and tomorrow. So when we do this, we are getting just something like this. Now, we are going to build an object called programmer. An object called programmer. No, let me not use programmer. Let me use student. An object called student. An object called student. Now, let's just say I want to call a part of this student. Every student has a name, right? Don't mind that I'm bringing a name and I run this. I'm actually going to see undefined. Undefined meaning that the name, the undefined, I wish that it's actually threw a very big error so that it told us why it is not showing us undefined. What we have here, you have been seeing it so many times. The dot you see here all the time is actually called dot denoter. Dot denote. So it's like it's actually it's a dot operator, but it's like it's actually trying to call extensions of functions, or extensions of objects, extensions of methods. So when you have a library like console, inside the library console, there is actually a function in there called log. So this is what the function does, is to display the any information that you give it. Now with this, if I should go like length, like I want us to get some serious error. Okay. Good. These are the kind of errors I want to see. Now it says cannot read properties of undefined reading length. So why am I going through all this? Somebody will say, but this thing. No. Yeah, what I'm trying to tell you is that whenever you build an object, don't be running into these kinds of errors. They can crash your code. Imagine you have advanced yourself and you are building for the blockchain, and then you try to call length when the property is not even there. You're actually crashing. And you see, blockchain apps, we call them dApps, decentralized applications. Once you write them and you launch them on the main net, you cannot change the codes you have written. You need to build the whole thing afresh. Probably you have the codes there. So you need to build everything afresh. If it's even just one line that is giving you an error, you need to rewrite your entire codes and then like rewrite them there. You don't do copy and paste. You need to rewrite your code there. So I don't know, you need to be good. Now we are going into the, the objects proper. Then let's build an object from this. So inside every object, there are properties, just like you have a human being and you have the parts. So inside this object, we are going to build some properties for the object. So we know that every student has a name. So the name is probably, now this comma inside of objects. You see, when you have one single item like this, okay, this one, tab 9 will always try to bring the comma. Okay, tab 9, I can't disable it now. I've tried disabling it several times, but it still didn't work for me. So I think I may leave it like that. Now, the reason why it is advisable to bring your comma is that there are so many things you can do on this object. You can actually delete, you can append, and you can do a whole lot of stuff with it. When you don't bring this for the last one, let's say you have name and then you have date of birth, which I will name as DOB, as same date of birth. Let's just use a string for now. Let's just use a string for now. So we have date of birth, and then you don't bring this comma. You don't bring this comma. Anytime you try to do an addition outside, like you try to call the object and then insert an object in there, a property in there, the possibility of running into errors is always high, because it may come to concact itself to this instead of actually treating it as an entirely new property on its own. Come and concact itself to the last to the last property, and then your code will not make sense. Good. Now, what if I want to like declare a variable name as a string, like a variable name that has multiple words in there, like say this date of birth. All that we have been doing, we've been seeing that the variable names, we write it as a single unit. But let's just say I have this date of birth that I want to declare as a multiple unit. You can do this. JavaScript actually allows you to do something like this, and it's still correct. You will still get what you want to get. It understands that the left side, JavaScript actually, Alaji Wise, okay. JavaScript actually understands that the left side of every property is the property name, and the right side is the property value. So this is the property name and the property value. I'm not saying that name is name. We can even say full name here like this. I can say full name here. And personally, I don't like using name in my codes, because when you go to, if it becomes a habit and you are working with other languages, you may find problems. When you go to C sharp or when you go to C, you cannot use name. Name is a reserved word. It's a key word. When you go to PHP, you cannot use name. It's a reserved word. Name is meant for like certain kinds of like objects. Like, let's say you want to give, it's a reserved word for, say, when you want to tag in HTML, for instance, when you want to tag a particular div, or a particular, like when you place a tag there, an HTML tag there, and then you actually want to identify it. Normally, you can use name, especially when you are building forms inside HTML. When you are building forms inside HTML, you use names to actually make the session post be able to pick whatever that you are doing in there. I think I'll show you some few codes and what I did with them as you go along. So JavaScript actually allows you to be able to do this, give a string, a name like this in there. Good. Now let's go to let's add a thing or two. What can we add? Let's just say education. This thing, I think we've done it time ago. I just want to bring it back and then throw more light on it. I won't rush with this lesson at all, because I want you to understand some few things in here before we move on with whatever that we are doing. So let's just say tech. Let me do something like this. Tech here first. Then tech, I want to like write something that, since we are doing JavaScript, let me just say JavaScript like this. Now we come to education. You see, somebody's education may necessarily contain a whole lot of things. A whole lot of things. I don't think anyone here has been to just one school or has had just one level of education. Probably we've been through basic school, been through secondary school, been through tertiary. So let's just say that this education, I want to do a whole lot of stuff inside education. You can actually have objects within objects. When you are doing Excel, you will say that you are doing nested ifs. Not only Excel. When programming, we have nested ifs, a whole lot of nested if. I think the nested if inside Excel actually helped me to understand how to nest functions and methods and objects very well, because that place is very simple. It's just true, false. But even when you go to Excel, it's just true, false. If it's not this, it's that straight away. But the very moment you nest it, there's something interesting inside Haskell that I'm seeing. Haskell, like calling a function on a function and on a function, and like you can call a function inside itself like 10 times. But these are some settings. This is very special. You cannot even do in Java itself, but you can do in, yeah. So this, you can actually put multiple objects inside an object. Now inside education, we want to have some multiple objects in here. Inside education itself, we want to have multiple objects. So we want to see basic. We want to say basic, and then we do this. Then inside basic, outside of that, we want to say secondary. Secondary, then we do this one. Then we want to say tertiary. We do this. Excuse me. So we have education, basic. So inside of education, We have basic, secondary, and tertiary. These are all nested, and you can go as deep as you want. You can create so many inside basic itself. You can create other ones in there. So let's just say inside basic education, I want to do something like where, when, and something set. Let's do something like that. So let's do where. Let's do where. Then we just say where like this. Let me just put when, then set. Set. Now I want all these what I have in mind that we are going to do with this thing. You'll be using ifs, switch, everything on this object. Probably tomorrow, that's what we'll be looking at. But today we are going slow. I don't want to rush with this thing. I just want you to be able to nest ifs and do strange things with it. So let's come to where. So where, let me just say, I just want to be okay. Okay. Then when, probably, then set okay. So here, when the when set oh, okay, we did we did SSC, and there's WASI. Now they say it is WASI. All right, so then probably when, so let's just say, and set say right. So we have something of this sort. Let me put this off. So this is a very simple object. A very simple object. We have basic, we have secondary, we have tertiary inside of education. Inside of education. So that means we can be calling them. We can be calling all of them. We can simply say you should see out student name. We don't have name. So you can do student dot full name. Student dot full name. I don't need another student here. Student dot full name. So student dot full name, when we run this, we are getting Kwekumenu as student dot full name. When we do student dot tech, we do student dot tech, we are getting student dot tech. Great. Then when we do student dot where is this thing? Good. Student dots, then we do something like this. 8. Sorry. I think this thing has to be 1 has to be 8. Wait, should be straightforward. Yeah. Should be no dot. Let's run this. and then we are getting 12 for now. Somebody will ask, why this? Why this? This because when we come to date of birth, we did not actually use a single naming system like we did for full name and tech and education. Whenever you want to use strings together to form a property name, always put them inside a square bracket. Always put them inside a square bracket to actually call, so that it will search for this string inside of itself instead of searching for a dot denominator, a dot operator. Because with this, you can't call this. You can't do it. Okay, you see, when I'm trying to access, that's what it will do for me. But let me remove it and then intentionally put dot there. You and I know that what I'm doing is wrong. You know that what I'm doing is wrong. Okay, let's remove this. You and I know what I'm doing is wrong. I'm just doing it. So you can't do it this way. You can only do it that way, like this. It's easy. Wow. Ghana had it. They just wake up and turn off light, just like that. Okay, so we have 12041990. Great. Now, what if we want to call education? So if you want to call education, you can still use the dots like dot education, like this. But look at what we are getting. We are getting like plenty stuff in there. So we are getting everything that has to do with education. Getting everything that has to do with education. But we can still use the dot operator to call, let's say, secondary alone. Call secondary alone, and it will give us like where, the when, and the set of secondary. And in the same vein, you can use where to actually target inside secondary. You can use where to target the next. So we are going to have Jene Senior High. Jene Senior High as the results. Seems there is heat edge. I know KK is also experiencing the light up because he's in my area actually. Okay. So console.log student.education.secondary.where. This is like a mouthful, but I can tell you that this thing can go as deep as something else. So we have this, you are trying to call, access a particular property inside of another inside of another object, inside of another object, inside of another object. This is how nested objects do work. Now you can do a whole lot of stuff with what we have in here. Let's do something like this. Let's do something. I want to like call. I want to call the object at the top. I want to like pass a name. I want to pass a name in here. I want to pass a name in here, but this time around, I'm not going to use it like we've seen already. We already know that I want to like, we have Kweku Menu in here, but I want to be able to use a variable to actually target Kweku Menu in a way that we won't be calling, having the same name appearing all the time or something of the sort. So let's play around it. This one day we are going to play around it. So you say, let's just say Right. Let's say input equals something like name. Now this time around, we are going to use name this way. Name. We're going to use name. Okay, we said full name, sorry. So let's use full name. We are going to use full name instead of name. Then inside of our code, we are going to try to access the name. We are going to try to access the name, whatever name that we bring there. Can somebody describe to me what we have to do inside our object and what we have to do to the console in order for us to be able to actually display name? Yeah. Somebody has an idea. I said we are going to play around it. Anybody with an idea? What we want to do is that when we pass a name, we should be able to target and display whatever name that we actually passed. How do you think we can go about this? I need somebody to give me some nice description as to how they think we can go about it. Yeah, go ahead. Replace Kweku menu with input. Okay, let's try. But first of all, let me copy and paste, and then let me comment one side out so that we still have it there. So you say we should display Kweku, we should put input here. All right, sorry. You should put input here, right? So, pardon? Pardon? Oh, no, 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 no. The underline here, full name is not a known word. There's nothing like full name like this. Full name must be spelled this way. Full and then name. So those of us who have been spelling full name as one word, no, it's not correct. Yeah. So okay, so this is what Lacris is saying. So let's target full name and then let's display full name and see if what Lacris is saying, if by now there, if it should work, you should know from your end. And you know it is working, right? You know why it is working? So when we put Kobna Ebo here, and we run this, we are getting Kobna Ebo. What am I trying to do? We are just trying to pass values. You see, somebody will say that this thing should have worked with functions. You see, it seems like objects works like functions. If you've really observed critically, you will see that object seems to be working like functions all the time. Object seems to be working like functions all the time. The logic we are having here is that I want us to, like, we targeted this. So that means that we can have multiple variables coming together to enable us play around this particular object. So let's just add something like age. Let's add age in here, and then let's say that the age, instead of saying age like this, let's add a variable here and just say age equals 67 or something. Mind you, the age here and the age in here, they are two different things altogether. They are two different things altogether. So I can actually come here, sorry. I can actually come here and declare age this way. This way. And let's just say that I want to call age dot age. And let's see what is happening. It's displaying 67. The age you are seeing here is not the age here. This age, even though if you try to highlight it, will say that they are all the same thing like this. This one belongs to this one, this age here belongs to this number age here. Sorry, this variable age here. And this age here is a property of student. Now we want to make this thing look too beautiful. So I want to say that full name, and then here should also be full name. That means that, but you see, when I do this, mind you, when I do this, I cannot run. Yeah, Eric.
Yeah, I just want to find out in SQL programming.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a similar thing. It's almost the same like what you've demonstrated. But what in SQL, what you do is when you declare a variable, when you're doing when you're using perimeters, what you
Yeah.
do is you can. It's called initialization. You can initialize the perimeter, creating a default.
Yeah.
So what it does is you can create. So if, for instance, what you've done, you've created a variable age with a default. If I should use the same word
Sure.
in
Initialized.
SQL,
Yeah. Yeah.
so you initialize it. That's
Yeah.
67. So if you
Yeah.
don't declare any input for the age
Yeah.
in the property,
Yeah.
then it'll bring 67 when you
Yes.
call it.
Yes. Yes.
Is
Exactly.
it the same thing that you describing, or it's
Exactly.
different?
Exactly the same thing. If I don't, let's say I don't declare, I don't I don't, this is, I have declared it without initializing it. I've
Exactly.
just
That's what I wanted. I
declared,
just
yes.
wanted to be
I've,
sure if it is the same.
yeah, yeah, it's exactly the same thing.
Oh, okay.
It's exactly the same thing. So if you don't, if you declare a variable without initializing it, with this
Yeah.
one, for instance, let's see if we run into an error or something like this. Yes, we will run into, oh, sorry, no, the error is not coming from age, it's coming from here. You should make here to full name. Yeah. So let's run this. And then it is telling us undefined.
Fine. Oh, yeah.
Undefined because this age that we declared, we didn't do anything to it.
Yeah.
So JavaScript doesn't know whether it is an object, whether it is a number, whether it is
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
It doesn't
The
even know what
data
you are
type.
trying
Yeah.
to. Sure.
Yeah.
Because JavaScript, when it comes to data types, you don't have to specifically tell it what data
The
type
data
a
type is
variable is. Yes.
okay. So with the
Once
variable name, it'll
that is it.
determine the
Exactly.
data type.
Exactly. When you pass the
Oh,
value
okay.
to determine whether it's a string, it's a number, or it's an
Yeah. Okay.
object.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
All
It's the
right.
same thing.
Okay. Thanks.
You work. Okay. So let's continue. Uh, excuse me. Let me. I'm getting something done behind the scenes too. So, okay. So what we have here, let's renew it again. So what we have here right now, if we run this, we are getting 87. That means that everything we have here can be like changed and then converted into a variable, so that we won't be having plenty, like we can have the same thing appearing here. Let's say tech, then we can have tech. I see, look, I did tech here and I did tech there. It says any. Let's try to access tech like this. Let's try accessing tech. And let's run this. And tells us that tech is not defined, like the reference. Don't lie to your body. Don't lie to yourself that because you have tech here and tech there, you can actually, you see, you might see this thing somewhere. You might see it somewhere, and Charlie, it will be too much a mouthful. So let's just use DOB here and say DOB anything. Let's put a blank something here, so that when we come here, we are going to do something like EOB. Somebody will ask, why am I even doing this? You see, this is a way. When you are writing codes, and we are building objects, you don't write the object value directly in there like that. Because mind you, the object doesn't represent just one person. It doesn't represent just one person. It will be like you write Kweku Menu here, and Kweku Menu will be the name all the time. Kweku Menu, all the time the name is Kweku Menu. What if you want to call the object on Adwa Manza? That means you can't, because you have made the let's make here const. The last time I was trying this thing, and the kind of error it sent me, I nearly went off my feet. So let's okay, so this one, let me make it this. Okay, so let me try assessing age from here, and then let's see. I think I should get an answer. Oh, tech. Okay, we haven't declared tech as a variable up here, so let's just add tech here equals computer something. It says computer, so maybe it wants to use computer. Let's do that. Good. Well, now the reason why I'm using const here is that, you see, who can tell me now? Let me try to ask you, then let's see if you can still remember. What is the difference between const and let? What's the difference between const and let? Somebody should tell me something. Why am I using let up there, but I'm using const down here for the object? Anyone?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, please.
That means they can be, for instance, there can be a lot of students.
Yeah.
So that object is constant.
Sure.
That object name will not change. But for the name of the student, you can change it with the let.
Straight away. That means that you can't even declare another variable with the name student inside your code base anywhere. And besides that, even if you are using let, you can't even. So that's exactly what Eric has said. The variable, the student is student. Student is student. It can the student cannot change. Like student as an object cannot change. If you go to a school, a student is a student. The student cannot all of a sudden become the lecturer or the teacher. No. Even if he's given a 1 day opportunity to write on the board, he is not the lecturer or the teacher. But our variables, that there are multiple students on campus with different full names, different ages, different technologies that they do, different date of births and all that. So I have stopped here, but I want you to beautify your codes. So probably you have to find out how you are going to do this, where, the when, the set. Great. But do you also know that you can actually, you see, what I did in here, I'm giving you nowadays, I want to deploy a certain strategy to make everybody work. I want to deploy a certain strategy to make everybody learn, to make everybody practice. Because I've seen that some of you are not practicing. So now, you see, in here, I did basic, I did secondary, and I did tertiary. But you see, this is where it gets murkier. Because at this point, you need to really assess these. Where, when, and set. But you see, Charlie, the where, when, and set, they are the same thing. So if I come to write where here, like this, if I write where, let's say I add another I add another variable here and I say where is equal to probably, let's leave where to blank like this. Let's leave where to blank like this. Space. Good. And you come here and you do where. Where. When you come here, what are you going to do? We are still going to do where. Well, we did where. But you see, when we are calling these objects, we can do tertiary dot where, secondary dot where. These are objects within the objects. So we can do tertiary dot where, secondary dot where, and then basic dot where. But here's the case that when we declare a variable up there where, it's still going to be where, everywhere that we have the education. And as soon as we do that, it's really going to be difficult to indicate where basic must go, where secondary must go, and where tertiary must go. At this point, a function becomes your only the only thing you can fall on to solve this problem. Where? This is what I'm going to do. I want you to use a function inside of education to solve this problem. Use a function to solve it. Inside the function, you are still going to get, like, whatever that you do here. I want you to think around and do this. Whatever that you are going to do here, you still must have basic as something like a function. You still must have secondary as something like a function. You still must have tertiary, something like a function. But whenever you pass where to it, you should be able to know that whatever is coming is for tertiary. Whatever is coming is for basic, or is for tertiary, or is for secondary. That will be your task for today. Tomorrow, I'll just call 3 people at random. Then they will show us what they did, how they did to overcome the challenge. What they did. This is not linked to any previous subject. The only thing it is linked to is functions. And I believe everybody here understands functions, because basically understands functions and calling functions and passing values to functions. So this will be your assignment for the day. Nowadays, I'll start doing that. Every day, there will be an assignment for you to go and think about and present. That is the best way for you to learn more of this stuff. Anybody has a question? My light is off. My battery is still strong, but there's some kind of, where I am seated, the heat is too much. Yeah. Go ahead. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, we are actually doing this in isolation. We will use array. We can use arrays to display keep names of people, like a list. I talk about a list. Yeah, array. We will get to arrays. Yeah, I think after functions, that's the next major topic that we will handle. Yeah, so we'll get to arrays. But what we are doing here right now, we are using it in isolation. We are using it if it is in a code, this student will be sitting somewhere, the object will be sitting somewhere. Then we will pass values to it. You can pick, like, let's say we can create a function, and inside the function we put this thing in there, so that whatever values we pass to the function, they automatically go there to do whatever that they have to do. Probably these things, after everything, there can be a function inside of this student, and that function will be targeting matter what you can that function inside. Let's say we can create a function, and you will say the function is function. Let's say I have something like function function display, or let me use an arrow function. So let's say let's display name. Not display, I don't mean display. Let display equals this, then let's just say arrow function, something like this. Then hey, why is display telling me that property expected? Wait, I know this is expected, sorry, this is expected, but why is this display what is it saying? Let me bring it down so that it doesn't give me any kind of confusion here. So let's just say that after everything here, what is the first block? The first block is okay. This is the first block. Sorry, the last block also. So after everything here, we want to display. Let's press. It's not giving me what I want to see. Okay. We are saying constant in here. We are saying constant. Let me see if I change this thing to let. No, it will still not even give me the chance to do it. I think I have to use function. Okay, let me use function before. So function display. Function display. Now this is not a you. You can't tell me to make this like strictly an object, a function. This is a property. This is not even. It's trying to make me create a list. Okay, trying to make me create a list instead of using a function. Let's try to go around this one. This is const student. Let me create some kind of function outside of this. So let's say display. Let's display equals an arrow function like this. So this. Then let's just see that. What Lacris? What was your question? It made me think of something that I wanted to do. Yeah, and I was saying that, even inside of this one, you can have how do we call it? You can have the function doing something. I said something, I've forgotten. Can you remind me? Yeah. After the arrays, I said you can actually make the arrays display something also. Okay, but my not a list. No. Say it is an array. That one there, it is an array. Okay, no problem. So my questions, my assignment still stands. I want you to be able to target where each one here. Then you bring us result. I'll call anybody at random tomorrow. Done. You see, okay. What I'm trying to say here is that I'm coming. Let me do something like display. This display. Let me bring it down. I'm trying to. Okay, let this function be here. Let me bring it here and see. display. Okay. So let's see. Display. Let me do display equals display as a function in here, and then sorry, as a as a as an object in here, and then I'm using the display function to actually display where. Like Chris, you see what I'm trying to do. So when I have, but why are you letting me teach you what you are supposed to present to me tomorrow? Yeah, no. I said I want you to go and think. Yeah, this is no. This one can go off. This one can go off. You and I know that functions do take parameters. So how are you going to use this parameter? Probably you can do this as you know. You can do this as basic outside of this. Then you probably say the where, the when. Yeah, I won't talk again. This and when you pass it in here, you are definitely going to get some kind of results. How you are going to get the result is what I want to see. But what as well? Yeah. So do that for me, and let's get the results in here. Let's get the results in here. That is what I want to see. Okay, so I think that'll be all for today. And please let's keep practicing. Let's keep practicing because that's the only way we can. That's the only way we can sort of understand everything that we are doing without practice, Charlie. All our work would be cost 90. Anybody with any question? Hello? Hello? Anybody with any question? Okay. So I'll take it that we are okay for today. Where we see we are kind of advancing. That is why it's becoming probably confusing to you. But this is where we are going, where we actually have functions come to display themselves inside. So all of these ones, they won't even be needed. But this function, the simple function, can do the work for us. Maybe function, you see, I say function basic. So basic like this. And basic will definitely take parameters or something. So it's all up to you to let us know how to work with them. You can even push this basic up. You can even push these functions up here, like this. But there is always a way. There's actually a way to target, make it target just tertiary. It's up to you. All right, see you tomorrow. See everyone tomorrow. And I hope to see that people have thought outside the box to come up with something out of this. All right, do have a lovely day, everyone. All right, so I guess let's move on. Let's move on from yeah. Okay, let's move on for today. We are already late. I don't want us to. Yeah. Let me reposition the video. So yesterday we were looking at objects and we got to a point. Sorry, we got to a point where we needed to fuse in um, a function into our codes. Yeah, I don't know if anybody tried their hands on it, but what we were trying to do actually was not to have where all the time here, but probably use a function in here. And one thing I want to draw your attention to also is that functions inside objects work in such a way that it's not only about making them display information like this. It's not only about making them display information like this, but you can also actually have the a function inside of your entire object doing something in particular. Maybe you don't want to be calling this stuff one by one, but you want to be like put them together. You want to maybe put them together or something of the sort. So let's just say that this full name, we'll come to this one later, yeah, in the course of the lesson. Let's just say that this full name, I want to split the full name up to, let me split the full name up to surname and surname. Oh, and then let's have first name. So we are going to have, say, first name here. Then we are going to have surname there. So great. So we have something like this. Now, I think somebody may not be seeing my screen well. Let me change the font. Okay. And probably we want to display that whenever there is first name, surname, we all know that first name, surname, they when we talk about full name, they usually come together. So I can decide to have a function in here displaying the full name of the student. So this is the entire student. Then maybe I want to have a function somewhere inside. But mind you, this is okay. This is education on itself is a property inside student name on its own. Then this is also a property on its own. This is also a property on its own. Secondary, tertiary is also a property on its own. So something like that. Something like that. Excuse me. So we have education, secondary and tertiary standing on their own like that. Great. So that means that if we are adding the next property, the next property, this is education. So we don't want to have it in it. We want to have it outside of it. That means that it's going to be whatever we want to do to display. I want to give you an idea as to how you can approach the, the task I gave you yesterday. So I can have a function inside of this object. And that's what the function does, is to probably display a concatenation of the first name and the surname. So we can have the function's name as, say, full name, like that. Then the full name is going to be a function. So we have a function without any name. Now, you remember when we were talking about arrow functions, and I said that in arrow functions, you can have something like let's say let data equal to like a bracket and a bracket without any name. So this is an arrow function. So this is an arrow function. Now this arrow function, let data equals nothing. That it simply means that the name of this function is data, but we are actually passing it in such a way that um, data is a variable on its own. Then we are pushing the entire function here to data. It's the same thing that is happening here. Let me see if we remove this, it will still work. No, it will not work. But it's the same thing that is happening here. At this time round, you still have to introduce the function. But the very moment you introduce the function, it is just telling the entire object that this function you have in here, this is the name of the function. Full name is the name of the function. But it is like a property. It is acting as the name of the function and at the same time acting as the property of that function. Acting as a property in that object. So we have full name as a function. Full name here is not like just a property on its own, but it also functions as, like I said, a function. So I can, and you and I know every function has to return something. Yeah. So let's say return, return, say first name, first name, last. Did we do last name? Was it last name? Surname, surname, like that. We have first name, surname. So what we are saying is that anytime we call this function, anytime we call this object, which is also a function, it is going to return this. So you can have an object doing an object having a function within, or an object with a property that is also a function, and it is basically doing something to the object there, so that probably you will be calling a particular set of like some properties most of the times, and you call them not as single units, because when you have surname and first name, the reason why it is always good to have first name and surname separated in your system is that when it comes to search, when you are using search engines to actually pull out records, or when you create a search feature inside your system to pull out records, you may want to pull it out using probably all first names or all surnames, let's say all middle names. So there's those information, they are not collected for fun. When they enter into the database and you are pulling them and you use probably all surnames, it becomes easier. So you are looking for all Mensahs. So if you are looking for all Mensahs, you type Mensa based on the scene, or let's say you do something like select all from students, where surname equals Mensa. So it's like it is going to, it's not going to worry itself with the rest of the columns, like search in the rest of the columns. So it's going to look for surname column, surname column, and then pull all the records with those by the surname Mensa. So it's not going to look in probably the date of birth, the education, the word. No, it's not going to look in there. It's only going to look inside the surname column, and then everybody with the name Mensa, it will pull that person's records and display. So what I was saying is actually SQL. Yeah. So you can have console.log. You want to have this string of ID. No, wait. String of current, right? So we have students, and then student, you just do student full name because you are just displaying student full name. So how do I keep getting this? An option to display. Then let's run this. Then we are seeing, says function full name. Sorry. So let's bring the function in here. Yeah, it's a function. So you need to bring the curly braces. So is it curly braces? No, this is just the braces. You need to bring the braces in there. So this is what I was saying. When I tried displaying just the name like this straight away, it told me that function, full name. So it's just telling me the behavior of this property inside the student object. The behavior of this property, like, oh, it is a function. Full name is actually a function. Okay, if it's a function, then display it as a function. Display it as a function. So there you go, Kobna Ebokwesi. So you have first name, surname coming together to form an activity in here. Form an activity in here. Great. So this is basically how you work with functions inside of objects. In the same vein, you can have this basic as a function, but let's remove this from here and let's just say that this is a function. This is a function and it's probably returning nothing for now. Now, what I want us to do today is to play around this. Play around it. There are certain tricks. Probably when I was getting a hinge on JavaScript was when I played around. Today, I want us to play around it again. So this is basic. Then this is basic as a function. Basic as a function. Mind you, we can have basic. You can have basic also behaving this way. Full, full name. In this case, should full name even come first or last? Let's do this. Let's do this. Then let's have students dot education dot basic. Yeah, student dot education dot basic. Yeah, so we are not getting what I want us to get because is it full names? Okay, full name, full name. Yeah, full name. I should get this. Full name. Okay, so full name is not defined. Full name is not defined. But it's defined here. Is it that I cannot reach it or something? Let me push it up. Let me push it up rather. So let me push full name to this point like this. And let's see if okay. So it still says basic full name is not defined. So, yeah. So it's not about reaching, but uh, let's make this one also a function of its own and let it return function. Uh, unless I want to see if we can return this. We can return this function. Yeah, I want to see if we can return this function inside of this one. Okay, so function basic. Uh, what about we do this way? Function basic. So it's telling us what function it is without necessarily giving us. Uh, have I deleted? I've deleted the function. Uh, oh, let me close this. When I increase the screen, I'm unable to see anything actually. The font size. Some of you two say that you can't see the font size. So let's have this as a function. Function, and let's return full name as a function. Yeah, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. Okay, so it's basic function. Mm. Ah, what are we returning here? Okay, we are returning student education dot basic. Okay, I wanted to see if we could return the function full name inside of the function basic, but it's not giving us what we want. Is somebody trying something else? Okay, nobody's trying something else. All right, so let's go back to what we wanted to do with this. Now, this function, we can make it take some parameters here, like where, where, the when, and then the where, when, and then the set. And we will say that it's going to return all these things. Excuse me. It's going to return the where, the when, and the set. Now, how do we return multiple items this way without like letting them go in their separate ways? How do you return them this way without making them go in their separate ways? The best way you can do it is by using an array, a list, to actually return them. We'll talk more about arrays and lists later on. But the best way you can do it is by using something like this, and then just say where, when, and set like this. So whenever you return basic this way, whenever you call basic function, the basic function like this, you need to, I think, no, I think our first, I'll still go back to that. But I still believe that basic should be able to display what is inside of this function. We'll still go back to that. But now when you have basic, education.basic, you have to pass parameters to it, else it will definitely going to yell at you like undefined, undefined, undefined. So you have to definitely have certain things going in here. These are properties for parameters for this function, this property inside education, which also behaves as a function. So let's do something like we have basic. Then we are going to get when it's say 2014. Then the where the set will say PC. So if we run this, we are going to get it this way. Please, is everybody clear with this one? Anybody lost? Anybody lost here?
No.
Okay, great. So that means that at least, yeah, that was Ganu, right?
Yes, please.
Okay. Yeah, Charles, are you okay? Oh, why? Ah, okay, 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 okay. Okay, so now you ah, sorry about that. Okay, sorry about that. But can you show us what you were doing? Maybe we learn a thing or two from there. Or we should move on. Eric, are you okay with this part?
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, Alex, are you okay with this part? Bernard actually sent me a message that he will be going somewhere. Like they have an academic board meeting today. So Alex, okay, this is basically one approach to go around this by displaying it this way. I wanted us to get our hands dirty small with so many codes, confuse ourselves, and come back to not confuse ourselves again. So I was, as we were doing this, I was thinking of something. What if, yeah, like what I was saying previously, I'm still not convinced that this thing cannot display um, the full stuff we are looking for. I still have this belief. So let me just make this a function. I still have this strong belief that the basic way to use a function inside an object is this. This is it, or what we did. So it's the same thing actually. What this one here and that one here, just that this one is inside, this one is taking parameters, and the other one is not. This is not. This is taking parameters. This is not. They are all returning something. So these are the yeah. Mhm, mhm. It is working on. It's working on this one. Yeah. That's what I want to do again. Mhm. Yeah, yeah, like this one. Mhm, mhm. Full name. Yeah, we are using it as a function here. You get it? Yeah. So functions, using it as a function here, it is acting like a global property, a global function. Functions can be called anywhere. That's the logic I'm trying to pass in here, and we use to access it. But like I said, the basic way to use a function inside of an object is what we have done. I want us to just push the limits. You get me? So yes, you are right. If it had worked, you'll be surprised a bit. But that is what programming is all about, to surprise people. So let's try to surprise ourselves a bit. Sorry. Now this is full name, like it's full name function. That's right. Full name function. Let me see spell correctly. full name. I still want to be able to display this. If it doesn't work, we will leave it like that. Because what we want to know is achieved. Because if you are doing functions, if you are doing functions inside of objects, you won't go to this length. You won't go to this length. The only length you go to is what you have done to make browsers understand what you are actually doing. This is where you have to go. This is the length you have to reach. So it says that full name is not defined. You want me to define full name inside of, no, that's not what I want to do. Okay, we'll come back to that maybe one of these. So this is all about mind you, right now you can do the same thing inside of here, but I said I wanted us to push the limit a bit. You can have basic returning here like that, but like I said, I wanted us to push the limit a bit. The limit a bit was what I was actually trying to do here by creating a certain kind of function. Creating a certain kind of function that actually takes 3 parameters like where, when, and set. Then what we'll do is that we'll make these ones to functions. And what they will also do, basic as function. Let's say basic as function. What it will do is that it will straight away pass the parameters. Basic will straight away call the function and pass parameters to it without necessarily having to be a function on its own. But I guess that won't be achievable. So this is how we can. So simply, if you have this running, you can decide not to bring all these things here and then convert all of them into this very simple function. And the same will go for here. So whenever you call basic, you are not going to call basic and then be passing different stuff to it. Then you should be using this when you have like a group of items that you want them to go together. An object which has certain items that you want them to all move together. When you do this, it is still a property inside the object. It's still a property inside object. Inside an object, which is education. This basic is not a function on its own, but it is a property inside of object, inside of the object education, and it is still functioning as a function. It still has another rule as a function. So that is that with this one. Anyone with? Oh, huh. Mhm. Education, edu- when we come here, when we come to education, let's take just the education object. Education here is an object. Property here is sorry, I said property here. Basic here is a property inside education. But education is also a property inside students. So student is an object, education is an object, but education behaves as a property inside of student. And basic here is also in the first instance when we did it, we created an object we created basic as an object, but it was let me go back here now. Let me use this one. Let's to throw more light on that. So we have tertiary. Tertiary here is an object. You are seeing property here, don't worry. The property you are seeing here is because it's also a property inside education. But when we come here, this one is not an object. this is not an object. The object, just have it in mind that when you have this curly braces in here with this colon, it automatically converts itself into a property, but at the same time, it is an object. You get it? Yeah, these ones are not objects. These ones are not objects. They give you direct results. They are just properties. All right. Anybody with any question up to this point? Okay. So I guess the object our object matters, we have probably we are closing the curtain on objects. It's okay, please. Mhm. Mhm. Yes, this is what I was telling you earlier, that I wanted us to define it as one function in here. This is a function in here that we can be calling. But like you were the same person who was saying that you'll be surprised if it works. Oh, you didn't you didn't say that. So you were the same person saying if we define it, if we are actually if it worked, you'll be surprised that it is working because it's a function. Uh, come up here, come up with an idea. Okay. The function should be defined outside the object and then called within the object. Let's try that. I think you are making a point. So let's try something like age. Let's say let's edu like something like edu credentials or so edu credits. Let edu credits equals, let me use an arrow function. So we are going to take let's try this. We're going to take this and then return that. Is that not it? Then return this. Oh, even because we are returning just one item, I think we have to go this way. Yeah. Please, I hope we all, nobody is going to ask me any question on what this is. Let's see how this goes. Uh, which which brackets? The the curly braces. They are nowhere. Where? Oh no 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 no. We are returning. This is the return. We are returning just a single item. So as a matter of fact, we should have had this here like this, and then the return in there. Yeah, this is how it's done. If you are returning just one item, this is now a single unit. This is now a single unit. So you can decide to remove this from here. Then you still get the results you are looking for. Well, let's try this outside of. So, Chris, we now have a function that is taking edu credit. So probably we are going to say what? Can you help us? Mhm. So when we mhm. No, for the you are on point. You see, for the where, when, and whatever, you and I, everybody looking at this knows that you can also have this out of here and declare them as variables outside. Yeah, I wish that we at some point just you at some point I'll just introduce you to no when we are done with this one in Node.js, I'll just introduce you to how do we call it PHP Kakra, all of you to small PHP, just as a way of introducing you to the frameworks behind most web applications. Yeah, if you are doing content management, you may not get a full idea within, behind that. But this one you can also pass values here. You can have other variables appearing in here. The values from other variables appearing here. So don't worry about this one in particular. But this time round, with what Lacris is saying, you see, this is a function. Like you said earlier, this is a function. This is also a function. So can we say that we can return what are you doing now? Mhm, mhm. Then it scores edu credits. Okay, so I think you are making a point here. Edu credits. So we have where, when, set. There is some here. Yeah, I try. I don't know. I should to work. And I said, today you have also taught me. Yeah, yeah, this is yeah, oh, yeah. That's a no, so you are even if you thought you are thinking through something and we get the results and you get the results, we are still you are still teaching me a thing or two today. So senior, let's say when it's not defined though. Okay, since we are trying to put limits, even if we do this today and we get around this today and we're able to like not use dry. Hey, him for return now. We are not able to dry ourselves today. At least we will be happy. Basic edu credit when it's not defined. How is when not defined? It's like Chris. Mhm. Okay, so if we do that, we are still turning the basic into a function. Wait. Let me check something. You said outside edu credit itself. Uh-huh. Okay. Defined. Okay, but this is no. You see, let me even remove this from here. Let's integrate it. Why are we getting this? Okay, we are getting this because of that. You see, this is a function. Let's not throw away the basic concept behind functions. A function can create property on its own without necessarily taking the value from anywhere. What you have to do, let's call educredit here. Let's just call educredits. So let's see console.log. Then this time round, let's use the same stuff in here. Let's use the same stuff in here, but we are going to say educredit. Educredits. Ah, what this how you know? Good. Then let's run this. Basic where is master? Let me clear. It's still seeing basic. Ah, okay. Yeah, an error. You see, this is how functions they behave. They don't need you to declare variables outside before they can use them. At the time of using them, you can declare the values in there straight away. Like this, you get it. Yeah. So let's not defeat the purpose of functions by trying to declare variables in here that will like declare variables before we use them here. The where, the when, the set. When we are returning it, the system, whatever you create, understands that whatever values you pass in here is what you want to display. This function is actually a nonsense function, but that is how we have to, since we are learning, these are some of the things we have to do. Because when a function, this type of function, so why are you even creating the function? Just to return them. So when creating, I think it is better. But functions must do something. So in here, you can write all your code here. Write all your code here. And all the codes that maybe when it's going to do this, where it's going to do that, you are going to. Let me show you something, a function I have created just so right now I'm developing a strategy, a certain kind of strategy that will handle most of my websites because I've seen that when I work, I just waste a lot of time. Please kindly forgive me. Like, I think these things are also good. They help you to like appreciate programming, and then at least you can and also whip your interest. Let me switch. Let me switch. Stop presenting and switch to that. This is somebody's website that I am actually working on. So I just want to use that concept to show you something. Okay. Don't be scared with anything that you see here. Now you see these are functions actually. Now this is the website. Now let me take just the about us page. I think about us there. I've worked there too much. Yeah. This is the whole web page. This is the entire web page, but you are expecting to see uh, like the beginning as idocs, HTML, then you come to HTML as a tag, then probably you come to how do you call it? You come to the head, you come to the body, something like that. You are probably wanting to see something of the sort, but this is actually a PHP something, PHP project. But you are seeing that it is not starting with that. This page, education. Even this one, the same thing, news is not starting with that. But what you are seeing is that it's starting with a PHP, and it is actually declaring some global variables. These are global variables. This is how you do it in PHP. Then you come to, it is these global variables. I've declared it. When you declare a global variable, you cannot assign a value to it straight away. You need to declare it first. Then I have assigned a value to it as education. When I come here, you see that the value is latest news. So I don't have to write the codes all over again. I don't have to write the codes all over again. So now when you go to this page title, when we reach title, it actually uses it as its title. So now when we come to this part, what I've done is that I have actually, when we get to React, you will appreciate what I've done here. This is not how you do your PHP project, like a web project. But I am using the idea from React to actually build my. So when you come to the where we have top area, so this is the top area. Just this, the iDocs you were looking for is here. I've cut it into pieces. I've cut the entire website into pieces and called them to join them together. So in that way, when I'm managing my website like that, I'm able to come here. When I need to manage just this aspect, I'm able to come here and do that. Now, when you come to education again, you see that we have this top area. Okay, so that's that. Then we have the top estrus. So the top estrus like this. This way you are going to have the footer. This is the top estrus. It has links. It has links to the meta links, the header, cart menu, and all that. So all my meta links in here. All my meta links are in here. Then my header files are also in here, like that. So I get to like manage. I get to manage things separately. I get to manage things separately. So when I come to it now, what I'm trying to show you is that let's take something like this. This is a class. This is a function actually. Excuse me. Yeah, this is a class. Yeah, a class. Colors. And it is found here in the back end. So when I call the back end colors this way, I've created some classes, some functions in here. What this function is doing, like I said, I want to show you that. You see, you cannot just have a function sleeping like that. So this function, what this function is actually doing is that it is going to display this inside for the browser. It's going to display all these HTML codes to the browser. Then it is picking the page name. It is picking the page name. So I've declared a variable as page name. Then you put the page names in there straight away. So that when we run this, we are going to, when we come to, let's say, education, and we say that colors, page title. So it will go into the class and look for the page title function. And then it will assign the page title to it, which is education. So automatically it will use education in here. It will send education to the breadcrumbs here, like this. And then it will just put the name of the page we have opened here. It's quite something else, but this is just to motivate you. This is just a motivation. Don't let it scare you. And like Chris, we are yeah, okay, yeah. So like Chris, I think still JavaScript may not allow us. Yeah, so to everybody, JavaScript may not allow us to do what we want to do, like using basic, But what if basic was also a function like that? You still repeat the when and yeah. Yeah, that is what I was also hoping to do with this one. You see, these are functions, different functions. This is a function on its own. This is a function on its own. This is a function on its own. They are functions. They are not. They are doing the same thing. Yeah, they are functions doing the same thing, but they are also objects. They are objects. They are functions. They are properties inside an object. They behave in so many ways. They behave in like 3 basic ways. This particular, each one of them behaves in like 3 ways. It is an object. It is a function. It is a property within an object. Yeah, anyone with any question to this point? Any question to this point? I'm looking for my. Yeah, questions up to this point. So let's continue, and then go back to, yeah. So let's continue. And since the last time I said that since we have started working with the do, there are some of these things that immediately we finish, I want us to like move to the doom and then try our hands on it. Yeah, I want us to move there and try our hands on it. So this is what we were working on. Do we need to let's duplicate this. Let's duplicate, or let's just create a new. Yeah, I want us to create a new HTML something, then work with it. So let's just see OBDE is like that. Anything that is an HTML, and then let's just do the doc something straight away. This one there, nobody should ask a lot of questions. If you have really set up your Visual Studio, this is straightforward for you to do. Yeah, like Chris, I think today you have a lot of editing to do. The rest of you is like when I call, only Eric responds to me. So it makes okay. Yeah, Abdul. I might meet you there. Yeah, the BYS silent. Slow but sure. Abdul, can you hear me? Can you? Hello, Gani. I know that Sylvester can hear me, just that he cannot speak through his mic. All right. So I want us to do something very basic in here. So let's just do something small. Let's just bring a div tag here, and then inside the div tag, let's just introduce form. So form is form. Then let's do form groups like that. So let's have a div. Then let's give it a class of form group. So in this case, if we are giving it a class of form group, then we will definitely have to call our CSS. So you do the linkage, then you reference the CSS style. CSS is our each ref CSS forward slash or backslash. Okay, I think we need to go back in. We need to go back one. I'll go back two. Go back twice. CSS dot bootstrap, because we want to do the form group something. So this form group, we are going to have our input, which is a text field. Our input, which is a text field. Then the type is a text. Then we can have a placeholder in here as enter. So what were we doing with the object actually? We want to have first name, surname. So let's just enter first name. Then that will be, let's just do required like that. So let's display this and see. Open with live server. Let's display this and see. Okay, so we have it hiding itself somewhere at the top. So this our div, I think let's just link our CSS to it. Let's link our original CSS to it. So we have CSS, main CSS, or should we create a new one? Let's add it to the main CSS actually. So it can be like you have multiple. Um, am I running? Hello, am I running? Let's create a class here and just call it entry form, entry form, something of that sort. Yeah, someone might wonder how come people are able to build faster. Like people are able to build complex HTML pages. You can Kakria if you see you can see we are running. Yeah. So we have this as a class. We go to main. So just like we did for the first one, where we actually did this. I want to just copy something here straight away. Uh, what did we use? Blog. Okay. We actually used the blog. So okay, we have used main here. But what I'm trying to say, what we did with this, like the entire page itself, what we did with it, I want us to do a similar thing with this one. So let's come here and then have this inside our main. The main here. I think the main is doing something for me. I don't know what it is doing, by the way. Okay, no problem. So let's call that class we just created the entry form. And let's paste everything in here. Let's paste everything in here. I just want us to have something small than. Okay, so I don't want to see plenty stuff. So I'm not sorry. I'm not showing. I'm not showing my page. Let me open. Yeah. So let me stop and display. Hey, I cannot find my AO. So let me stop this, then present this one, your entire screen. Sure. Okay, this is what I want to display. So we have something of the sort here. Let's forget about the dressings. Let's just use this straight away. So let me put this so you can see. Good. So we have form group this way. Then probably we are going to give this an ID of say S name, an ID of S name. Then let's repeat the same form group here. Let's repeat this form group, and then enter this first name. So let's do it F name. So enter surname. Let's do it S name. I think this time around we have it. So you see, because I did form group, I use that. The form group is actually coming from Bootstrap. The form group is coming from Bootstrap. That's why we are seeing it's like separating itself beautifully like that. Then probably I think it would be cool to have a button within. So let's use the same form group, but this time we are going to use input type of button. So the input type we are going to use button. We don't need a placeholder for the button, but we will need a value rather. We need a value. And this required won't be needed here. We need a value, and the value should be check, something of the sort. So we have it here. Then I think we can give it a class. We can give it a class of btn, btn info. Yeah, I think check there. Info will be. So we have something like this. Then outside of the form, we want to bring another div tag. Will it do anything in particular? No. But no problem. Let's not bring a div tag. Let's just bring a span. This, and let me put something in there and see how. Okay, so the span is displaying down here. So I think I'm cool with whatever that I want to do. Then this span, I would just want to say ID is ID is salt. Something of the sort. Now, what are we doing? We are calling a script down here. We are calling a script down here, and then the type of script, the type is going to be a text JavaScript. The type is going to be a text JavaScript. Okay. And the source, the one we did right now is OBJS here. OBJS. So the source is OBJS like that. So right now, let's do this. Let's now pick. Okay, we have more time. Let's now come to OBJS as a function. Sorry, as a JavaScript file. Let's now come here. And then let's do some general stuff in here. The normal drill. Yeah. So we let f name be equals to document dot get element by ID f name. Then let's do the same thing for s name. So we have s name here. S name. Good. So our first name, whatever we have here, I think it won't be necessary at this point. I won't build for class and other stuff. But I want to do this. I want to return this. Yeah, I want span. I want the span here. Okay, we gave the span an ID. This. We gave it an ID, and the span, the ID was result. So I think we need to call that one too. Or we can even set it straight away. You can set it straight away without calling it. So inside this function full name, I want you to return something like this. Document.get element by ID dot inner HTML equals what? Equals the very thing you deleted right now. So it will be equal to f name and s name. F name and S name, something like that. So we have f name. It's a global variable, so we can use it. F name. Okay, so let's first just have it there. F name dot inner HTML, or let's just say inner text. Let's use inner text because this is like, yeah, F name dot inner text. So when we come to OBJS and then we click the button, where is the button? This is the button. So let's do on click. On click, we have, what's the function? Okay, this is where it gets tricky, right? This is where it gets tricky. So this is where we can actually introduce a function. Let's this edu credits. Let it not take anything here. Let's not take anything here. This is where we get to actually introduce a function. Yeah. So this edu credits should be equal to, I think edu credits must, okay, this is an object on its own, but I prefer to let edu credits come down somewhere. Let's maintain it like that. So let's try to play around this thing and see how we can get the results displayed on there. So we have educredit should return student, but what is get credit? Students dot okay, so student dot full name, right? Student dot full name. So I think this one should work for us. Student dot full name. This thing should work for us. So when we click, we want it returning the edu credits that we just, so we have edu credits as a function. Let's see if it works. It doesn't work. It should work. So let's see how we can move around this. So what are we doing initially? We are picking, let this one be equal to f name, get elements by id f name. Then we have, let me check the terminal. Not the terminal. Okay, let's go. Then we say full name, get element by ID. Oh, okay, we didn't enter it here, anything here. S name. Okay, but why are we doing things yama yama sir? This should be S name at inner HTML. Okay. So let's see. Return. Yeah, some more. Results. Results. We have return document dot get element by ID results inner text. Let me use inner text here because S name unknown word. I'm can't put it forgotten. So we have S name equals S name, then by ID, then we say that document dot get element by ID result. Okay. Let's first test our code here. Let's just first our code here and let's just do edu credit like this. Console.educredit should be equal to return students dot full name. Okay, so it is giving us an error. Okay. Here, student dot full name. Let's first start by solving this one. Let me do all these things. Let's first start by giving the full name something, the F name something, and then the S name something. So let's just say that they are these two. And then this one is the question here. So at least we have something here to show. But I see, it is now telling me something. It's not telling me undefined. So is it now working? So it's like, is it our button or is it the button click? That is not giving us what we want. Okay, look, let's see. I want to see if this thing actually works. Edu credits, sorry. So edu credits equals return student dot full name. Student dot full name. And student dot full name, okay, should be this. We are returning. Let me comment this out for now because I don't want it to go off. So I just want to return F name plus S name. S name like that. That is inside of our console. Yeah, I have this running. That means it works. Good. So let's now let this go off because we now know it works. Then let's do this. Since we are doing direct since we are directly referencing the text in there, let's just do dot inner text. Or let's just do inner content. Think, where is the inner? Where are the text content? Let's do text content and see. Yeah, I think text content should do for us. Text content. Right. The last time when we were doing this, I told you there are three basic ways of trying to get the results from a text field. This is one other way. Great. So now when we come here, I want us to return this exactly. So let me remove this. Let me remove this and then let's just say return. Yeah. Return. Okay. Great. Then let's remove this. And let's just return it this way. Great. So return document.get elements by ID results equals this. If it doesn't work out for us, that means it's the button. It's the button that is not accessing on click edu credits. Yes. See what programming can do to you. Yeah. You see that it is working here. Now, nobody was saying anything. We were trying to return. It's funny though, it's Charlie. And, yeah, nobody was seeing this thing. Like we were returning it. So if you are returning it, that means you are working within the console, or you are like picking the value and sending it to another function. But what as well? So if you use the return, yes, it is returning it. You don't need, when you are working with the DOM, you don't need the return statement to send something to the HTML document. The same me so me and obi an ka hwe oh, that is how programming is. So we na dot see baby. Dot na see baby you are not getting the whole thing running. Then you come to see say now say this thing shouldn't be here. We can away waste no, we don't waste time in programming. We can away use time. We can away use 1 hour. Just find out that there is a dot somewhere. Miss 1 hour. You can use 3 days to find out that there was a dot somewhere that is not supposed to be there. So yeah, so our function is actually working. That means I can come back and do a whole lot of stuff in here, change my everything to value. Again. So that means whatever we have here, we shouldn't return this. We return it. Just pass the value straight away. So if we have then we have the answer in here, we should just run this. I feel also on are we doing anything wrong? Are we still doing some return statements or something? F name, documents, it has affected it. Oh yeah. This one. I'm still returning something. Which one did I change? I've removed it from the room. It's I'm not getting what you are saying. Uh-huh. Yeah, wait. Yeah. Now it's there. I thought I was doing that here. Like this. Never. Uh, we are using an we are using an arrow function. Why we not using an arrow function? The arrow function that you used in the previous one. Document get element by ID result. Inner text. Hey, this year we have made it work and we have spoiled it again. I removed the values from here. Yeah, that's what I did. And I added them to here. Yeah. So I think we need not to call it at the top here. We need to call it at the down here. So that means this when I so let me see what we were trying to achieve finally. I didn't able to handle. What we are trying to achieve is to have this running. So we are like calling inside of the function edu credit, we are calling an object, and the object we are calling a function within that object, like this function. That's what we want to do now. So it is working now. Phew. Yeah. So that's that. If you followed through, yeah, we will attach the code. We will attach the code. So let me see those who. Yeah. Okay. Uh, yeah. So I think that will be all for today. And please kindly send if you haven't sent your so we are left with three or the midnight. So have 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 a beautiful day and have a good night, Eric. And good morning to the rest of